What's going on, dudes? Nick here, or RGA Gaming, and welcome to a storytime video. For those of you who may not know me yet, my name is RGA Gaming, and I run the mc.performium.net server. We've had over 250,000 players come through our server, so we've seen tons of crazy stuff. And these are my stories. I'm gonna start going through a lot of the crazy stories that I've had over the years, and trust me, there are a lot of crazy things that have happened on here. A lot of people are like, oh, it's just Minecraft, what's so crazy it can happen? Well, today, everyone, I'm gonna be telling you the story about how a couple of hackers managed to find a vulnerability in our hosting company and exploit that to gain access to our server to cause not really a lot of damage at all. I mean, basically everything that they did, we had rolled back within about 5 minutes, but that doesn't mean that it should have happened. And for those of you who were worried or wondered what happened, here's the full story. All right, so to kind of set the tone of the day, essentially it was on Father's Day. I was over my wife's parents' house. We were having a small get-together. Basically, my wife, her sister, her parents. We brought my daughter over there. And we were having a barbecue, so we were grilling a bunch of stuff. We had some ribs and some other really good stuff. But towards the end of the stay there, I pulled out my phone and just happened to scroll through Twitter. And I had a few notifications, which I checked, and it was a screenshot from a couple different people saying, "Is this real? I hope it isn't." And I'm like, okay, what the heck is this? So I click on it, and it's like someone spamming out, "This server's been compromised, blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, what the heck? So I immediately close out of Twitter, and I pull up Skype, and the first thing I do is message Mac. I'm like, please tell me that Donnie's trolling right now. And he calls me, and he's like, dude, we've got a problem, which is the last thing that I wanted to hear. I mean, it's Father's Day. It was supposed to be, you know, go out, have fun, see the family. And unfortunately, it then turned into that. So as soon as I heard him say that, I'm like, oh God. I'm like, all right, well, I'm about 40 minutes from home, so I'll give you a call as soon as I get in. So I hung up with him, told my wife, I'm like, hey, we gotta go. We've got some issues going on. And, you know, we at that point, when I had talked to him, we were already good. What he had done is he basically shut down everything to try to figure out what was going on. And I gave him a little insight as to what was really happening. And by the time I got home, he had already had pretty much everything patched. And we were starting to do some other stuff. But we wanted to make sure that there were no other ways for them to get in. But I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself here. So anyways, so I get home and I hop on Skype and I'm like, hey dude, how's it going? And like I said, he was walking me through. He's like, okay, well, I went through and did this, this, and this. He's like, I've got everything down for now. That way, if there's anything that's left over, we can undo it. And essentially, the reason we didn't bring it back up right away was because we wanted to go through our command logs and see what commands had been run. And it kind of turns out that it was a good thing that we did, because even though we had gotten, or someone had gotten in there, we saw that they ran commands to opt some of their friends. So I don't know if it was like their alt accounts or if it was their friends or what the deal was. So while he was looking through those logs, I pulled up the servers themselves and basically whitelisted everything so that only I could get on, and started undoing the damage. I mean, realistically, all they did was spam a bunch of stuff to everyone saying, oh, this server has been hacked, and they decided to use world edit to world edit in some spheres of air in the server spawns. So really stupid stuff, but it was essentially, I logged in, core protect rollback, and everything was good. Literally within a minute of the server being up, I logged in, rolled it back, and it was back online. So once we rolled everything back, everything was good to go, but we still wanted to make sure that there was no other accounts that had access. So we went through the command logs of the person that got in, and then we started going through the command logs of anyone else that they had opt or tried to give perms to, which was not a ton of people, but I think there was probably like 4 or 5 accounts that they tried to give stuff to. So we went through, banned all those accounts, banned everything involved, banned all the IPs involved, and got everything stable. And then once we got that in order, we went through and like double checked that everything that we had patched was fixed. And the reason we got this thing patched so quickly was because not even a week before this happened, and I'm not even kidding about this, not even a week before this happened, Mac and I were in a call, and we were in the process of launching 2 new game servers. We were in the process of redeveloping our central communication system, and we were going through some other stuff that we needed to take care of. And we were going over the list of stuff that we had to do, and I'm like, hey, you know, I think we should really spend some time and lock down everything inside our hosting company. And we both agreed it was something that we had on our list to do, and we were like, honestly, we've got these 2 servers, so we'll launch them, we'll finish up the rewrite, and then we'll get that taken care of. Well, unfortunately, we both agreed that, you know, the odds of someone finding it within the next week, since it had been set up like that for over a year, were pretty slim. We're like, you know, no one's touched it in over a year. We'll get to it next week, and then we'll get it closed. But unfortunately, we didn't. So that's how we kind of recovered from it. A little more in depth as to how they actually did it. It's really simple. Essentially, what happened was our hosting company has a firewall. And if you don't know what a firewall is, it basically allows you to create rules that tell which ports you're able to connect to which services and stuff. So we had our firewall locked down to make sure that anyone in the entire world cannot get to anything we don't want them to get to. However, when Mac and I were talking earlier that week, we had discovered that that was only true for everything outside of our hosting company. So what somebody had done was they rented a server within our hosting company, which is behind their firewall, which means now they can basically have full access to everything that hosting company has. And it's kind of a design flaw on their end, but I mean, I kind of see why they do it. I kind of see why they don't. I mean, it was our fault for not having the deeper security set up on our end anyways. But like I said, it was one of those things that if we had done it that day, if instead of saying, oh, we'll do it next week, we would have done it that day, the whole thing never would have happened. But unfortunately, like I said, we had so many other things going on that we were just like, oh, we'll get to it. Of course, the one thing that we're like, oh, will never happen actually happened. So essentially what they did is they used the hacked Minecraft client to log in as me. So they connected to their own Minecraft server. Basically, we use bungee cord, which is kind of the front end, and everyone comes into that and then gets distributed to the servers. So they set up their own bungee cord, but they set up a hacked version that let them log in as me. So it didn't contact Mojang. It didn't say, hey, you know, Minecraft, is this a valid session? Is this user actually logged in? They use the hacked one that says, oh, I don't care about that. Let's just push them in. So basically, they got into the server as myself, and they started just basically having full perms because my account has that. So they ran some commands to get themselves opt. Well, at least as best as they could. They didn't really understand our permission structure and had a heck of a time trying to do anything, which is why they just ended up doing some world edit, because that's pretty much all they could figure out. But like I said, we patched it almost immediately because we already knew what the problem was. And like I said, it was stupid of us not to fix it right away. But it was still, you know, it was one of those things that realistically, it was like that for years. And no one ever touched it. And then suddenly, when we talk about it, we jinxed ourselves. So it was fun. I mean, basically, you know, we got home, fixed all that stuff, brought everything back up, checked all the other networks that we run, and everything was patched there as well. Like I said, it was going to be a network-wide thing, and it was dumb of us to think that it wouldn't happen. But we've since learned our lesson. Obviously, we've fixed the whole solution, and we've made some changes that it's basically physically impossible now to get into the server that same way. And even if somehow somebody did, we've now got so many other countermeasures that would completely block any attempts for anybody to do anything. Essentially, even myself, like, even if I made a new Minecraft account, I could not physically get into Performium with any type of permissions. If anything changes, then the same thing happens. So, like, obviously I can't talk about all the security measures that we put in place, but as an example, we were in the process of saving all of our changes, and our hosting company decided to reboot one of our servers, which basically ended up causing us a little bit of a problem because we were in the middle of making our changes and they weren't all saved. So they rebooted our server and it didn't save the changes. So the next morning when we woke up, we saw that the same people were trying to get back in again. And we're like, how is this possible? We put up rules to block this. Well, like I said, the server restarted and it didn't save the new rules. So they tried to get in again. Unfortunately for them, we had already added some of those extra countermeasures, and they really were not able to do a dang thing. I mean, they tried, and they were just going crazy, trying to do anything, trying to get any perms. They couldn't even get connected. They were getting kicked out constantly, and they were like freaking out. And then eventually we realized, oh, the stupid rules didn't save. So we fixed that, and then they were blocked forever. So, I mean, it just goes to show that even by undoing the new security stuff, we still had already implemented stuff that stopped them from getting any further. So, like I said, this is something that will never happen again. Well, I'm going to knock on wood. I never like to say will never, because then someone will prove you wrong. But it should never, ever happen again. And we have a lot of stuff to safeguard against it. Now, as far as anything goes with like data breaches or anything like that, there's absolutely nothing. Essentially, all they were able to do is connect to Performium as me on the Minecraft server. So they couldn't view any accounts, they couldn't view any information, they couldn't view any payments, they literally couldn't view anything that a normal player wouldn't be able to view. So that's the whole thing, is, you know, they really didn't have access to much, and really all it ended up doing is them just using some world edit. So at the end of the day, it was kind of an eye-opener for us, as in, like, yeah, I guess we really should put a little more attention to the very high critical tasks like that, even if we're swamped with other stuff. So, you know, we've kind of restructured some stuff on our end as well. But it just goes to show that even when you think something's impossible, it really can happen. And it's just, like I said, we kind of now are like, okay, well, you know, if there's something major that we need to do, let's just do it so we don't have to worry about it. But like I said, everyone's data was safe. Everything on the server was safe. It was just, you know, essentially they used a hacked Minecraft client to log in as me, which, I mean, you've seen my videos. You've seen the stuff I do. You could easily world edit stuff. You could pseudo everybody. You could, you know, spawn zombies and stuff. They could have done a lot worse. But like I said, they didn't really know how our systems worked. So they were like, okay, well, I'm just going to world edit the spawns into air. And I think they only hit like 2 or 3 hubs. And I think 2 game servers? I don't know. It wasn't a lot. We've also had some issues with our staff as well that we've corrected. It's not, I wouldn't really say issues, but we've properly trained them now that if someone starts spamming out messages and doing things, that it's not us. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that we would do during a troll, but there's a lot of stuff that we didn't do, that we wouldn't do either. And that is one thing that kind of could have prevented a lot of this as well, is that we had probably half a dozen or more staff online, and they all just kind of thought it was a joke. Now, I could see why they think that, just because we do a lot of trolling. We do a lot of random stuff on the server. So maybe to them, they thought, oh, this is some kind of crazy video. But, you know, as soon as they started seeing, like, any of the server spawns were getting griefed, I think they tried to give out a bunch of money. Like, they were doing eco give. They were trying to give people money on a server, which we all cleaned up. But, you know, as soon as they started seeing some of that stuff, they should have realized, okay, something is not right here, and just started banning the accounts. I mean, that would have been the fastest way to shut it down. Then they couldn't have gotten back in, and but at least it would have notified us. So that is another part as well. So realistically, between our new firewall rules, our new code that pretty much blocks any attempts to access the server with any type of elevated permissions, as well as a newly trained staff team, newly trained staff team, we've pretty much got everything locked down. So like I said, don't ever feel afraid to play on the server. I mean, this is the way a lot of these servers grow. I mean, it's the same way that another issue just came to light, happened the other day, and I'll probably do that in my next video. Yeah, I'll probably talk about that one. Basically, a guy found out how to essentially crash our servers over and over and over. So that'll be another story. I think I've kept you guys long enough, but if you have any questions, feel free to leave it in the comment section below. I'll try to answer everything as best as I can. Just, you know, I'm trying to be as transparent as I can here, because I know a lot of people were like worried and upset after it happened, but I think now we should be good. If you guys like this video and you want to see more stuff like this, then definitely hit that like button. If there are certain topics you want me to cover as well, feel free to ask in the comment section. And who knows, maybe you'll see your suggestion in the future video. But until next time, guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for all the support and love. And thank you for helping Performium be the best Minecraft server in the world. Goodbye, everybody. As always, dudes, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe and possibly check out one of these other videos here. I think you really might like them. But I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye, everybody.